These are the weather stations that supply all of your data for crop insurance. Okay? So this is what a picture of what the weather stations look like when they're in the field. So they're about 20 meters by 20 meters. So they're not the little weather stations that you buy at Costco for $99 and they tell you what the temperature and relative humidity are. And they're not the kind where it used to be you check to see how much rain there was and somebody had a weather gauge or a rain gauge at their farm and they called it in every morning. It's not like that anymore. It's near real-time data. So what we're collecting at all the weather stations is wind direction and wind speed with these anemometers. These will do the same. Temperature and relative humidity is up inside of there. And that is a rain gauge. Now these are the tipping buckets we used to use, but as you can see, the snow, they didn't collect the precipitation all year round very well. So they went to something like this, which usually has glycol in the bottom, so it'll melt the snow and actually then translate that into precipitation. Yeah. Because different snow has different amounts of moisture in it, so this way it melts it and measures it that way. It does, this is a pyranometer, which tells you the number of days of sunlight or hours of sunlight. So if it's cloudy, that's what this is going to tell you. So this is what's out there. They are maintained every spring and every fall, and then if there's ever a problem, there's a quality control lady in Edmonton. She takes a look at all the data, and if she sees a problem, she calls up whoever it is. They go out, they take a look, try to figure out what's going on. So all the sensors are replaced, and they're recalibrated twice a year. It all runs off of this. This is an expanded type of a board, and it runs through a satellite system. So we don't have to have cellular. So there are, the map down there, 350 stations in the province that the data comes in from. They're not all owned by Ag and Forestry. Some are Alberta Environment, some are Environment Canada's. Some are also NAV Canada's, so Navigation Canada, especially in the Peace region. So it's a lot of data. It's the most in Canada. So it's pretty cool. So if you wanted to know the weather, there is a website. So I was just going to show a couple of things at the website. If I have a mouse, there it is. So the first thing, you can take a look at your weather station conditions, which is a quick summary. So we could click on this. Oh, I already had it selected. This is just south of the city. So this tells me my precipitation today, last 7 days, last 14 days, and always compares it to normal. So you can take a look at what your wind speed, wind direction is right now, temperature, when we had our last frost, what it was, what the hottest day was. Here's a graph of that precipitation. You can look at temperature. You can look at the heat units. So that's really important for crop insurance as well. And then of course, everybody likes to know what the forecast is going to be. So if we go back to the front page, and you wanted to take a look at some of the stations, here's the stations in the province.
So that's where I usually go. So where did you go before?
First one.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So if you take this, weatherdata.ca,
Thank you.
takes you right to here.
Perfect.
So, yeah, go ahead.
So when rain, like the moisture is gathered, does it have like a rolling tone, or does
Yep.
does it have a way of just getting rid of the moisture from one day?
No,
or is
it keeps it all in there, and this runs off of radio frequency,
Okay.
and so it records it. But what you can do here is you can select precipitation, so that will give you each hour, or you can also look at the accumulated precipitation. So in here, farmers may want to select a few different stations around them, but there are so many variables that they can take a look at. You can compare them all to normals as well. There's about 1,500 maps in here that are generated, and probably the one that most people look at is precipitation. We can look for accumulation total over a 30-day period, started on May 31st. And there we are. We can look at it relative to normal over 30 days on May 31st. And that'll give you a snapshot of the entire province and where things are at. You can look at it for temperature, soil, drought, and we also do all the fire indices for all the municipalities in the province as well. This Alberta weather conditions map gives you, when you watch the news and it shows you the temperature in Calgary at all the different locations, this will do the same thing for whatever zone you want in Alberta. It'll show you what the actual temperature is right now. And the cool thing, we do have radar imagery because every farmer likes to look at the radar. The interesting thing here is it may take several dozen seconds to a few minutes for this to show. So we can look at it, we can pull up the southern. We're looking at rain, we'll slow it down, and we can play it. And you'll see it on the bottom. So this shows you what's been happening. Today it's a little bit boring.
Well, and it was funny because on the news this morning they were saying, oh, there might be a possibility of a tornado later.
Yeah, so it looks like it's coming.
Usually it's
Yeah.
like purple though. If it's
Yeah.
ugly, it gets darker.
Yeah. So this information also goes into the irrigation scheduling that the farmers can use with their pivots. Yeah. So the other new thing in our last couple of minutes, it's being launched next week. We're introducing Alberta's Fusarium Risk Tool. So we adopted it from Manitoba's model. It uses the hours of rain over the past 7 days and the hours when the temperature was above 15 and 30 degrees, which are your important key factors for Fusarium. So where you would go is on that the stations, derivatives, change it to hourly, and select Fusarium. You can select your station. You can select a series of stations. It's not perfect yet, and it'll be demoed next week. What you're going to get is a map like this. So this is actually showing from May 30th to August, but I'm assuming that this is from 2016. So this shows what the risk was at this station last year. So I printed off the Milk River Ridge Reservoir. They had some conditions that were favorable for Fusarium. It doesn't mean that you have Fusarium, but it means that the conditions are favorable and that you should probably check.
And what conditions, like
Temperature and rain. Yeah. So this is tracking all those weather stations and telling you something maybe to take a look at. We're developing the mobile-friendly future. This is the mock-up of it. You would pull it up, and it's going to give you a series of dials. Every dial is a weather station. So you can see, oh, that one's a little bit more important, and we're on map. If you want to, you can go right into the risk for one station. It'll tell you the number, which coincides with the color. And as you scroll down, you can actually take a look and see what it looked like over the past 3 days. So in this case, okay, we're getting up there. We should maybe be considering what this looks like. Keep scrolling down. It'll give you your actual temperature data, your relative humidity data, and your precipitation.
when did you think this was?
Next week as a demo. And on the other side, the information, there's more information about Fusarium, so farmers have it right at their fingertips.